Hello, welcome back to the Real Arsenal Deal podcast. Rav here, your host as always. How is everyone today? Hope wherever you are in the world, hope you're well. And look, for me, I'm struggling with this one because I've got so many thoughts to get to. So I've tried 3 or 4 times to make a bit of a rundown to discuss. Of course, I'm referring to the match Arsenal Manchester City 1-1 draw at the Emirates early this morning. And when I say early this morning, I literally mean 1:30 a.m. on a Monday morning start. It's a tough one. I don't know what it is about this last week in particular. It's really hit me. It's been Thursday morning, 2:45 a.m. in the Champions League. Was it Thursday? Sorry, it was Wednesday morning. What am I talking about? I'm all over the shop. And then so soon after, another match early morning on a weekday. I think I'm just getting old. I'm getting older and older, and maybe it's taken out of me. Maybe I need to revisit how many of these matches I should actually get up for live versus sometimes in the past when there's games on overnight. If I miss my alarm or I can't get up in time for it, what happens is my body clock eventually adjusts. I get up around 4:30 a.m. and that's okay. I've still got a couple of hours before everyone's awake, before the kids are awake, and I'll just start the match watching it live that way. So maybe I need to revisit it for them. But look, that was a random tangent aside to say that I'm a bit all over the shop with this result. Like football is like any angle. It's any angle you want to cover. You can look at this on face value and say that Arsenal have done really, really well to salvage a late equaliser and salvage a point, because in times gone past, we would not have been able to turn these results around, especially in big matches, especially against teams who set up in a certain way at the Emirates. And perhaps we could have been picked off again in searching for that equaliser. Maybe we've been naive in the past and we've been caught on a sucker punch. So in that respect, maybe it's a good point. Maybe it's a good point to look at it that way. However, the overwhelming prevailing feeling I have now is what could have been. That's the nagging feeling I can't shake. And maybe in recording this, it'll help me as well. It could just help myself get to a better place how to process this result, because I think we could have and should have done more. The game was won or lost in that first half. Actually, look, to be more accurate, we didn't lose the match, right? So I can't say we lost it in the first half. What I'm more so trying to say, what's more accurate, is that the opportunity to change this from a late salvaged point to a comfortable win and a commanding win was that first half. Manchester City, I think I'll bring this section forward because it's very relevant here. City played in a way that I don't really associate with them. You don't really associate this kind of, it was like rubbish football at times. Let's be completely honest. If Arsenal did that, and look, Arsenal have, under Arteta in the last sort of 18, 24 months, has copped a lot of criticism Arsenal have about playing in a certain way, dark arts FC. Like I see all that stuff. I try not to engage or get too sucked into that sort of clickbaity stuff. I can't deny there have been moments where Arsenal have really, really milked moments, feigned some injuries, take a long time on throw-ins. Raya's really pushed the boundaries as well. He really has in terms of taking out goal kicks. So we certainly have pulled these levers when it suits us. It's not something I typically associate with Pep Guardiola. In fact, I saw the stat that is relevant to bring up now as well, that never has he had in his top flight career, in his top flight professional career managing teams, he has never had as low a possession as this, 32.8% possession that they had, meaning Arsenal had the best part of 68% possession. We dominated on the ball. We dominated possession. I don't think it was designed to necessarily be this way. I think what happened over the course of the match, especially City scoring first, City hitting us on the counter, a ruthless counter, by the way, finished superbly by Haaland. I mean, what can you do? He's a man mountain. You just can't chase him. It was just when he's in full flight, he's a killer, absolute killer. He's done it time and time again to a host of teams, and he's going to keep doing it for the rest of his career. He's a monster in that position. So City scoring first changed the entire complexion, because what it does is that early goal, being having the stuffing knocked out of you like that, it changes the whole complexion of the match. I don't necessarily think that City would have gone into this match with the intent to play in such a poor and negative parking the bus manner. I think it was more so an opportunity that occurred through the on goal, because all of a sudden you've got Arsenal on the back foot. You're away from home. They've had a big week. They've had a couple of days rest. So over the course of the match, had it stayed 0-0, that you'd think Arsenal, with the bench options we have, with fresh legs to come on, that they've had a heavier schedule. That they played Thursday night in the Champions League, as opposed to us playing a couple of days early. So all these little small factors, fine margins, they come into play later in the game. And I think I also saw a stat that Guardiola has started the same City 11 3 times in a row. So it said that they played same 11 3 times in a week. So over the course of a match, that can come back to bite you. But unfortunately, we weren't in a position to take advantage of that. They took that aspect off the table because they've scored first. And Arsenal don't have a great, what's the word I'm looking for? We don't have a great reputation of being able to come back in matches under Arteta. Look, I wish I had the stats with me to present now to support this. I've got that perception in my head from watching Arsenal as long as we have. Like we don't. It's been some time since we've come back from being behind at halftime. I'm probably going to get shouted at in the comments here that I'm missing something. But to the best of my memory, I can't recall in the last. Look, obviously the Reece Nelson goal, the Bournemouth goal at the Emirates. I can't recall too many. But please correct me if I'm wrong, because my whole point now could blow up in my face. I'm happy to be proven wrong. The point I'm trying to make is Arsenal don't have a great track record being able to reverse matches where we concede first. It's a bit of an Achilles heel. If teams can suck us, get us on the sucker punch early, they can just go into their shell. So many teams have done it. In fact, this is, like when we spoke, I've spoken about this at length. I'm sure you've heard it. You've heard it many, many times referred to in coming into this season. Arsenal drawing too many matches last season, 21 points dropped from winning positions and so on. This is our Achilles heel when teams come and they shut up shop. They park that damn bus at the Emirates Stadium. How many teams have done it, right? I don't associate Guardiola doing it. However, I don't think it was by design. I think it was an opportunity that happened. They scored early. The circumstances of which they scored in, they knocked the stuffing out of us. We struggled in the remaining, in the ensuing 10-15 minutes to get our rhythm back, and this is. There was some nervousness in the crowd as well, and so I'm there thinking as well. I'm watching this thinking, oh God, like here we go again. Are we going to get sucked again? So there's a hesitation that permeates across the pitch. And City, they're masters at this. I mean, they won everything because they know game states, they know phases of matches. They've done all of this time and time again, and they have had plenty of experience playing against teams in low blocks as well, and they've dished it out today to Arsenal, and it largely proved effective. So I don't think they would have walked in. I don't think if we looked at Pep's whiteboard before the match, he's not going in there saying, just flop around and time waste and that rubbish we saw from Bernardo Silva right before halftime, and that embarrassing stuff. This is just like as the game evolved and reading the temperature of the game. Right, I think this is just what they've decided to do. They're like, you know what, we're ahead. We've got to halftime. It's Arsenal's. The onus is on Arsenal to come to us and play and score, and let's just keep what we're doing and keep them out for 45 minutes. So, in that respect, I mean, what can I really say? It's ugly on the eye. I mean, I'm not going to be so righteous to say that we wouldn't look to do and seek similar advantages in if you reverse the roles. I'm not going to pretend. So we've done it, and you do what you need to do, right? And it just makes for dour, ugly viewing. And but when you're a proven winner like Guardiola is and City are, they can get away with it. They've got that reputation. I remember I'm going late. The late 2000s, early 2010s, that great Barcelona team, like as synonymous as they are with beautiful free-flowing tiki-taka football, great footballers across the pitch. I mean, glorious to watch. Iniesta, Xavi, Messi, of course. I mean, whatnot. But don't forget, they had this dark measure to them. How many times do I see Busquets? He's been bumped in the shoulder or the hip or something. He's down there holding his eye. They know exactly what to do. Victor Valdez used to do it all the time. They'd taking ages on a goal kicker one. So this perception that City are able to get away with, Arsenal don't have that benefit because we have not lifted the major trophies. We have not won. So it's just such an easy stick to beat Arsenal with when we come out. When we don't come out on top, pardon me, in situations like this. It's a very easy point to see, this is why you don't win. Mentality. You go there and you go for a draw. You're playing for a draw and whatnot. And I get all that. There's some validity to the rationale. However, it's dialed up to 11 out of 10 because we haven't won. We haven't won anything. And it's just the easiest, pardon me, it's just the easiest way to rile up Arsenal and to everyone piles on, all the media outlets, it's easy material for them. Like, it's just standard stuff. It's like bread and butter stuff. I'm not sure if you know that saying, but we say that a lot here in Australia. It's just the easiest material to give them. Until Arsenal win, and I'm confident we will soon. I maintain that despite this indifferent result. We're just going to have to deal with it, and it sucks. And it's just one of those things that just anyway. I don't want to give that too much more fanfare. The point I've been rambling on about, pardon me for sorry that it's taken me a long time to compartmentalize my thoughts on this, is that Arsenal just need to find a way. We need to find a way because, especially at the home, in the home matches, we've got 19 Premier League matches at home. We're going to see a lot of this. We kind of already have, in fairness to the caliber of the opposition. It's a different dynamic. Leeds can't sustain that level of playing over 90 minutes. We ended up thumping them 5-0. There's going to be times where we can overcome and we can pile on the pressure. We can take our chances, and then the goals come in a hurry. Because once you score and you score first and you don't concede that first one, it's just a different game. It's on our terms. We can take the game to them comfortably. Unfortunately, today, conceding first was the killer, the absolute killer for our hopes in this match. You got to not concede. When you dominate possession like that, and in fairness again to Arsenal, it's the first open play goal we've conceded all season. Look, when I say all season, of course, we're 5 PL games in and 1 Champions League game in. So I know a relatively small sample size. However, that's sufficient enough to demonstrate Arsenal as a defensive unit, what we're set up to do. We're a machine. And to be blown away like that so easily from back to front, that's disappointing. And maybe every supporter in every single club does this. I mean, I'm guilty of it too. When I look at a goal and I start picking it apart and I say, oh, what if this? Or we shouldn't have conceded that. Or if we were tighter in this moment. Look, I get it. Every single person does it. Everyone would, especially when it's such a game-changing goal like it was for City. I've picked that apart a dozen times in my head. I went to bed with that image in my head. Actually, you know what I should say. As much as the question marks can be on what was Gabriel doing so high, in fairness to him, look, this is the way we play. It was 7-8 minutes in. They barely had a sniff. We were controlling the ball and we were stacking on the numbers going into that final third. This is how we play. It looks terrible when it happens. We look exposed. It also takes seriously high caliber of players to then expose that and take advantage. And I just want to say this part again because it does deserve a moment. The way Haaland, at his size, his strength, his weight, his physical profile, he's an absolute beast. right? The way he's able to just flick the gears and accelerate and go like that. I mean, when I looked at Gabriel chasing, he was nowhere. That's surprising. Like Gabriel Saliba for players of their height and their stature, that they can move, they can accelerate. Like they're world class in their own right. However, undone by Haaland like that, we're just nowhere near him, and it looks bad on like a still image when you look at when they broke. It was also caused by, and I look, it's every player does this. Not every pass is going to come off where everything has to be perfect, especially when you've had 500-600 passes for the match. But that ball from Calafiori, unfortunately, that's where this starts. As much as you can criticise or question our exposure at the back, did Gabriel need to go in so hard? Did he need to be so high? Could he have come back? You can pick this apart like I'm doing right now. For me, we're more so guilty that Calafiori's pass, his cutback, it was poor. It was poor, and we've turned it over. I know Mikel's massive on the duels and massive on turnovers like that. When he watches it back and the players watch his back, I think that was the moment. It was we ceded possession needlessly, and then they're off. And what they do, that they in 2 or 3 passes, they do it with ridiculous efficiency. So look, fair play to them. It is what it is. 1-0 changed the whole dynamic of the match. Like I think I've banged on enough about me. Probably sick of hearing it. So I'll move forward from that point. We struggled. We struggled with rhythm. Look, that was the 8-minute mark. I can't remember a shot on goal up until right before halftime, like a shot on target. It was a very flat 25-30 minutes. And look, let's before I want to give Martinelli his flowers, and I want to gush over that when I come to the second half shortly. However, I've also got to say, in the spirit of when we pick apart matches and we question every decision, every moment, selection has to come into question now. Selection has to come into question. I don't want to go hard on players. I don't like doing that. It's just not me. However, it has to be said, was this the match for Mikel Merino? I've got a bit of a wild theory here. Again, please call me out on it. Please, by all means, if I'm way off or I'm way overthinking this, please let me know. There's needle and spice between City and Arsenal. If you listen to my pre-match recording, I delved into that in more context. There's a lot of needle, especially with Rodri. There's a big Spanish contingent, of course, at Arsenal now. Zubimendi, Merino, Raya, of course, they're all international teammates. I think what's happened is that, and of course, Arteta himself being Spanish and being a big Spanish fan of the national team, of course, he would adore Rodri when he puts his Spanish shirt on. However, when it comes to Arsenal versus City, there's an extra level of spice. So I think the Spanish contingent within the club have been like, nah, boss, play me. Like, I'm up for this. I know his game. I want to take him on. I don't think you could take Merino out of this match. I think rain, hail or shine, he wanted to play this match. He wanted to go head to head against one of his great colleagues, of course, and his great teammate. But in a match like this, Zubimendi and Merino, like, they'll be licking their lips and saying, no, we're going to get the job. We're going to take him on. So had it been any other opponent, maybe we would have seen, in the absence of Odegaard, maybe this was the time to start Eza. Maybe this is the time to start Waneri. In this match, I think that Rodri factor, I think that Spanish factor has been the compelling reason why Arteta has stuck with the momentum. I'm not saying this is right. I'm not justifying the decision, because I call this into question now. I call selection. I'm going to get to the left wing as well in a moment with Trossard. So I preface my speculation on this with it's just a wild theory. Had it been anyone else, maybe we would have seen something different. But for now, I get it from Arteta's point of view too. He can look at it and say, well, hang on, no one questioned the decision at Bilbao, and he's right in that regard, because results dictate the discussion. Results dictate the narrative. We won the match. We won the match late, and all of a sudden, I mean, if you listen to my recording on that episode too, I was gushing about the senior professionals on the field, Merino's experience, Zubimendi's experience, going to Bilbao, or the experience in La Liga and with Sociedad. So you needed those guys on the pitch to control the temperature. And had we come out on top of this, had we found a winner, or if we'd won the match, is anyone really questioning the decision again? It's one of those things I put my hand up to. Would Would I allocate 5-6 minutes like I have to talking about it right now? I probably wouldn't, because again, results dictate the discussion. Had we won, you're once again, you're finding the angle to support and say, oh yeah, look, I can see why he stuck with them. Professional bodies against Rodri, their Spanish contingent, right? We've been informed that this is the midfield that's getting the job done. So you stick with players who are producing and you stick with that momentum. Great, 3 points Arsenal, bank it and move on. But we don't have the luxury of saying that now, because we've drawn the match that I very much feel was there for the taking. City were there. This is not the great City. This is not the City of 2 years ago who we ran to the final day in the title race. This is not the same. They're not the same. This is my frustration. They were there for the taking, and this is the part I can't help but feel, but we should have done better. Look, obviously 1 point is better than 0. We can't lose these matches. We couldn't have lost this match like we lost at Anfield 2 weeks ago. We just can't. We can't cede ground so early, relatively early in the title race. We had to salvage something. We had to wrestle that point back and not give them the satisfaction of coming to our house, playing like that, and walking away with 3 points. I don't want that. Like that would sting me more. So, as great as it was to salvage a point, I can't help but feel what could have been. And I want to now. I'm sorry that this is so negative. I can feel myself getting worked up as well. I'm sorry if that's your experience too of this recording. I want to get on some more positive beats. But actually, you know what? There was 1 point I forgot to mention. That's it. Trossard. When it comes to selection, I can't just dig out. I'm not going to just pick out on the Merino for Odegaard position, that midfield setup. I also feel that look, if you were going to start if you're going to start someone different on the left wing, my strong belief is that it should have been Martinelli in terms of what he produced midweek, in terms of his attacking threat, his running power. And of course, he's got an excellent little record against City. That snuck up on me too. He's been quite active, quite involved in goals and assists in the last few seasons. I thought he was the one. Trossard in a game like this, look, actually, I'll correct that statement. Trossard at his best is exactly what he did midweek. He comes on with 20, 25, 30 minutes to go and impacts a match in the manner that he does. He's done it time and time again, and his numbers in terms of goals and assists coming off the bench, it's a weapon of Arsenal. It'll actually, his numbers would rate very, very highly in terms of substitutes across, well, not just Arsenal, but across the Premier League in recent years. He's produced time and time again consistently. That's something I would have loved to have held up our sleeve to play that card later in the match. I don't think you should have taken Eza out of this one. This is the thing, Mikel. This is the other aspect of it. Like, as much as I've just kind of just justified, rationalized, including Merino as the midfield, that's fine on its own. However, it's just midfield, between Merino and Trossard both starting, that was the wrong choice. I think as a pairing, we shouldn't have made that decision. It should have been Eza. And coming to halftime now, I'm actually really glad he made the changes. How wonderful to see Bukayo back. So I haven't even mentioned him yet. I'm so sorry. I've been a bit too distracted by the other topics in my running sheet to even mention this. How wonderful to see Bukayo when he was warming up before. He was warming up around the 27, 28 minute mark as the substitutes do, going up and down the touchline to beautiful reception from the fans. It was lovely to see. It was heartwarming to see him back. So I get it. He's not fit enough to start, and it's a matter of like, when do I incorporate him? I'm so glad Mikel did this at halftime. In making halftime changes, two, Eza and Saka coming on. Again, it's a matter of angles. It can be, on one hand, you can look at it and just say, okay, this is a proactive coach, right? Recognizing game state, gameplay, and he's making the change. Instead of doing it at 80 minutes, he's making the change now. That's one angle, yes, and that's probably the winning angle if we ended up winning the match. Unfortunately, because it's a results-based analysis, as I keep pointing to, to me it speaks of, damn, I got it wrong. I got it wrong in the first half. In making that change, and especially conceding like we did, having to chase the match, I think it was almost a concession from Arteta to say, damn, I got this wrong. However, halftime, fresh slate, wipe the slate clean, go for it in the second half, and go for it in more ways than one. We played completely different. We were completely different. It was a different team. It was different, and this is that nagging feeling I got in my head. Like, why do we have to concede a goal to come out and play with the bravery, with the energy, the enthusiasm, the urgency that we do? Like, why do we have to concede a goal? I mean, if I had the answer to this, we'd win the quadruple. We'd win everything. Because if anyone could like unlock this magic formula, we'd win everything. It's not that easy, is it? Though, because they were there for the taking, and we had the firepower to do it. We got the options down. This is a powered up Arsenal. We're different. We are different. We've got all the options on the bench. We can chop and change as we need to. They're fresh. Minutes are being managed pretty well. We have the opportunity midweek to heavily rotate it. It's a Carabao Cup time, right? You can play a different 11, and we'll still get the results. So it was there for the taking. We could have left it all out on the pitch, and we didn't. And I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated by that because they were right there. This is a better point for City than it is for us. It is. We need to be winning these matches, especially after losing to Liverpool, and they still, they're winning. They're winning every match despite not playing well, and it shows that we don't have to be perfect either. We just find a way to win because, like them, we integrated new players, new forwards. Of course, there's some similarities there. However, we couldn't afford to lose it, and I'm glad we didn't. However, we need to win, and we need to go next week to St James's Park, a very tough fixture, and that needs to be 3 points now. I'm looking at the table. Liverpool, obviously, they're 5 from 5, so they're on 15 points, and we're on 10 points from 5 matches. And with the opening 6 fixtures we had, if we end up on 13 points with a win next weekend against Newcastle, 13 from the opening 18 with the fixture list we've been handed. You know what? If you offered that to me earlier in the season, entering the season, 13 points as a return from that opening 6 fixtures, look, I'd probably say, look, that's okay. That's not a deal breaker. That's not season ending. Nothing to that effect. It'll be okay. However, now, with the margins being as tight as they are, and having suffered that loss against Liverpool, against and having not taken the 3 against City this morning, it raises the importance of Newcastle next week. It really does. Anyway, I'm jumping ahead too far. I'm sorry. I did say I'm going to get to the second half soon. So we were so much better. It was beautiful. It was beautiful to watch at times. That they were defending deep. When have I last seen 11 men behind the ball from City? You don't see it too often, or you don't really see it discussed too often on the times that they do. And we had them. It was, again, I can't make this point without being frustrated again, because Eza changed everything. He was lovely. He should have been on the pitch for longer. And I thought, and I'm sorry I haven't mentioned this yet either, but Madueke I thought was excellent again in the first half. Now, Mikel said something about that he took him off for Saka instead of I thought it should have been Trossard coming off, and we can just reshuffle our wingers. But Madueke copped a knock. Apparently, look, he didn't look. He didn't look too bothered by me. He looks still pretty good, but then right on halftime, as the whistle went, there was a close-up of Madueke's face and looked like he was grimacing coming off. So again, you never know what happens. Never know, was he just holding it together to get to halftime, and once you cool down a little bit over the halftime break, maybe whatever knock he got, or maybe he felt some more pain, so that move had to be made. But damn, I would have loved to have seen Saka and Madueke on either flank. Madueke to the left and Saka to the right, and Eza through the middle. My goodness me, that would have been game changing. A lot of conversation about Gyökeres again. Look, I maintain that it's a combination of things. He can do better in moments. He's not really a natural back to the goal sort of player or forward. We don't always pick his runs. In a match like this, it's so damn hard to spot him as well as they flood back. And I maintain something else, and I don't think this is too outlandish to say. I said this after Anfield as well, is that if Kai Havertz is fit, he plays. Havertz plays these matches. In matches of this stature and women, he would play, and Gyökeres is a sub. Gyökeres can be an outstanding contributor for Arsenal over the course of a Premier League season. He can beat up some other teams. He can beat up some of the other mid to lower league teams in the table, as he has, and as I'm confident he will continue to do so. But relying upon Gyökeres to integrate, to basically play every minute as he's trying to integrate into a new team, a new setup, a new league, a new country, this was not the plan. And Kai Havertz, whatever you think of Kai Havertz, I think we're at the point now where we can just recognise factually, statistically. You look at Arsenal's performances, Arsenal's points per game, our results, the goals scored. Kai Havertz is the centre point of all of them. He's a focal point. He's integral. When we played some of our best runs of football over the last few seasons, Kai Havertz is part of that. And I don't think that can be denied. And I was many moments looking at this match, looking at certain game phases, certain crosses played, certain passing patterns played. I was like, oh, damn, I wish Kai was there. I wish he was there. But he's not. And we just have to contend with as best we can. We are well equipped now, as we've shown with our investment made this summer. We're well equipped now in terms of options. However, did we utilize them as well as we could have? And that's the nagging feeling. I'm over half an hour in, and I wanted to save this just for a special segment. I'm so thrilled for Gabriel Martinelli. I'm so thrilled for him. In previous recordings, hopefully you've noticed me that the way that I talk about him, because he really epitomizes this Arteta Arsenal. Like he bleeds for the club. He does so much defensive grunt work, which I get it. Everyone's different. You might think, oh, I don't want my winger tracking back and helping the left back. I don't want him right next to Lewis Skelly, right, in seasons gone by, or Calafiori, Zinchenko over the years. I understand all of that. However, what can't be denied is that whatever Arteta wants Gabby to do, he does it. Right? He tries his absolute best. I get it in that final ball, final action, the head not looking up and sort of spraying balls. I get all of that. I'm not defending any of that. What I'm saying is that Gabriel Martinelli is Arsenal to the core. He clearly has an affinity for the club, for Arteta. He clearly has the respect and camaraderie of his teammates. That was palpable. Look at the celebrations in Bilbao, the way Calafiori was pointing his badge and they were thrusting him towards the away fans. They were thrilled for him. They know it's been tough for him. I don't think we can deny that. I mean, Martinelli, all players are aware of that sort of narrative being discussed around them, and they're probably their own worst critics too. He doesn't need us to say, oh damn, I wish his goals and output would be better, and I wish he found that pass. But they know it. We don't need to tell them that these are professional elite athletes. They know absolutely. They know these things already in their own self-assessments. I mean, his confidence has taken a battering, and just for him to have the moment midweek, I'm so happy for him, and he didn't have the moment today. I'm thrilled for him. It brought me so much happiness and joy to see that celebration. It's a cracking goal. It's a cracking goal. Like, what a pass from Eza. Beautifully timed. And like midweek against Bilbao when Trossard knocked it over to him, there's still a lot to do. There is so much Martinelli needs to do with this ball. That second touch, that makes all the difference. If we're going to criticize him, as I guess that there's some validity to it, if we're going to criticize him for his final touches in moments when he's racing into the box, trying to get past his fullback and not looking up and finding the target or finding another player, sure, if you're going to do that, give the man his flowers now, because his first one or two touches, his final ball, were magnificent. This is such a low percentage goal. I don't know what the XG on this would be, but it'd be what, 0.05, 0.01 or something. It'll be so low in that position to get the ball, then race your own goal, use his acceleration, keep the defender off him, and then to beat a man mounted like Donnarumma. Maybe that's the only way to beat him, right? You got to go over him, right? Because he's that big and that imposing a figure. But Martinelli, with the outside of his right boot, to loop it over, there's so much to do. So much has to go right, but he's done it with exquisite skill. And it's bounced in, raucous celebrations. I'm so happy for him. He deserves this. He deserves this. He showed like it would be silly to sell him for a pittance. Some reported fees for him are like, well, paltry. They're not representative of his actual quality. And now, as powered up as we are, having someone like Martinelli as a weapon off the bench, coming on with his pace, his acceleration, right, getting in behind the defenders, tiring legs, right, in the remaining 15, 20 minutes. This is game changer for Arsenal. We haven't had this. So he's an asset, and we've got to keep him fresh, keep him motivated, keep him engaged. And I'm so happy for him. I hope he soaked up the celebrations, from the crowd, because there's an adoration for him from the fans, his teammates, his manager. We've got to get around these guys, and I'm so happy for him. So I'm just struggling with this last point now, because as many positives as there are, and there are some positives to take. I don't want this to be all doom and gloom. I just can't help but feel Arsenal would look back and rue that opening 45 minutes. So, look, please let me know. Am I wrong? Am I being too negative? I would really like to hear. I'm fascinated to hear what you have to say. Is there anything you agree with, disagree with? Does some of this resonate with you? It's just that nagging feeling that I'm going to shake it off eventually. That we could have and should have done more. That there was an opportunity here that's been spurned, unfortunately. And look, over the course of I'm not going to try not to be too dramatic with this point, but over the course of a Premier League season, the margins are so fine, they're so low. There's only so many what if moments that you can have before they end up being the difference between finishing top or finishing second. It's literally a matter of points that it could be. And we had that big what if moment late on against Liverpool, and every now and then you're going to cop that, and that's fine. A world class free kick to get past us. Here we've dropped. I can't say we dropped 2 points, because we actually gained a point, if anything. But on the balance of that opening 45 minutes, the selection, the way we chose to set up and play, the options we had, alternatives, I can't help but feel that this should have been 3. This should have been 3 points. So I think on that note, what I might do is I might bring this one to a close. I'm feeling better about it, I guess. I'm feeling a bit better. I'm a bit more upbeat. It means now we've got to turn our attention midweek. Keep some other players fresh. Let's see some debuts for the likes of Kepa. Of course, I think Lewis Skelly, Nkapie, Dowman. I think we should be utilising opportunities. Norgard's another one. Of course, give them now some minutes. You can start Trossard, Martinelli in this one. I think Gyökeres needs to sit out. We need to just rest him, manage his minutes. Timber needs to sit down. Gabriel, Calafiori. So there's a real genuine opportunity midweek. Keep some other players fresh. Keep them engaged. And we've got a massive match next weekend against Newcastle. And talking about spice, there's a lot of spice in that one too. I really want to go there and do them. I think we owe them. Let's hope we get the job done there. So look, thank you so much, as always, for listening. Sorry that this one's a bit all over the shop, but it might have been a tough listen, a bit of a slog to get this through. I'm a bit tired as well, and a little bit, and still a bit puzzled by what could have been. So look, I'm feeling a lot better. I hope you are too. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you'd be kind enough, please, to like, subscribe on YouTube. That would really help out the channel. If you're listening on audio platforms, please consider leaving me a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. That would be tremendously appreciated. Thank you so much. Look after yourselves, everyone. I'll be back on in a few days to discuss more things Arsenal. Take care of yourselves, right? Check in with your loved ones. Reach out if you need support. And best wishes to you all. Come on, Arsenal.